welcome back to Designated Beer Drinkers, where your favorite hosts drink. Tonight we're trying Zip Line Brewing Company's Copper Alt, which was stated that it's their
Beautiful.
de facto one.
Mm-hmm. That's what I've heard.
Their flagship.
Oh, yeah.
I have to say, I love this color.
Oh, yeah.
It smelled a little stinky when I was pouring it out.
A little
It's just your
coppery.
imagination. All right, ready? This is Zip Line Brewing's Copper Alt. This one is notable as it is a recipient of the Gold Award for the World Beer Cup in 2023.
Wow.
It's a German-style alt beer. And now, Gadies and Lentilmen, please clap your hands together for the beer blurb. This beer is a malty, balanced classic. It is a hybrid style between an ale and a lager. This bronze-hued brew goes down easy with subtle nuances of chocolate and hazelnut.
Serve at 45 degrees.
Oh,
Malty, balanced, classic.
yeah. That's what they say. We'll
I
see if
heard
it
that,
holds
yeah.
up.
All right.
Here we go. Clink.
Clink. There's a gnat flying around.
We've had issues. Okay.
Definitely malty.
Yeah. Decent so far.
I was expecting it to be a lot heavier.
Same.
That's
Especially-
pretty hoppy for like such a dark beer too. It's kind of hoppy.
It's got some hop to it.
It's a little, or maybe just more bitter in general.
Yeah. Does it say anything about the hops on here?
But it's very like holding up to the lamp. It's very red. So
Yeah.
it's a lot like
It is very red.
kind of how not the same as a Irish red ale, but kind of the same way that those are weird too, you know,
Yeah.
but good.
What do you guys think of Fat Tire?
Oh, I love Fat Tire.
It's a good, it tastes like beer. So
Yeah.
if you're in the mood for a beer, just like a standard beer, that's Fat Tire.
The first time I had a
Wow.
beer in a chilled glass was at Red Robin, and it was Fat Tire, and it was delicious.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
This isn't as red as that, though. Red. Quotation marks.
No,
Red tasting.
Yeah.
only red in the light.
Need some more red 40.
What's the, starts with an A. It's like the bugs that make things red.
Ants. No.
No, it's like an ingredient.
Uh,
You guys know what I'm talking about?
Fire ants.
No.
Starts with an F.
Amino acid. It's something like that.
red amino acids.
Let's see.
Did you say it was a bug?
Red coloring
Amino ants.
Is it a beetle?
made from bugs. Oh, it does not start with an A. Carminic acid is typically 17 to 24% of dried insect's weight and can be extracted from the body and eggs, mixed with aluminum or calcium to make carmine dye or cochineal. Carmine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
It's used as a colorant in
Ah,
food and
see?
lipstick, i.e., natural red 4.
Oh.
Interesting.
Carmine.
Fascinating.
Red's so good, they made 3 other ones.
They made at least 40 other ones.
Wow.
Or 39.
Maybe.
This goes down pretty easy.
Yeah, it does.
I feel like a lot of the flavor is after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Like, while you're drinking it, it's just kind of like cold and it's just kind of like a beer.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like, you get hit with the malty.
Yeah, because like the upfront taste is pretty sharp, but it's hard to place.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of rusty, coppery.
Oh. Making
me,
connections.
It feels like water going in, and then I swallow it, and it's just regular old beer.
You guys-
and then I wait a second, and then I get just that hint of the chocolate and hazelnut.
Yeah, I was just about to ask, you getting any chocolate or hazelnut?
Much more chocolate than hazelnut.
I'm getting no chocolate out of this.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe hazelnut. Maybe.
Yeah, I guess hazelnut is the closest thing that I could describe as a flavor I recognize. But yeah,
Like
Not
hazelnut
chocolate,
coffee.
really. yeah.
Yeah, I'm not getting it. I don't know if I could tell you what hazelnut tastes like, but I'm not really getting any chocolate.
Nutty.
Yeah. It's just kind of
Like,
earthy, nutty. It's hard to describe
like
though.
you ever smelled an acorn? Or like, what's the smell you associate with like an acorn? And
Maybe
then like
pine.
and then like sniff that while you eat like a cashew or something.
Okay.
Right, you
Yeah.
get like a snifter.
I've totally done that.
You guys are
before.
getting some bland hazelnuts. For me, hazelnut is more like a spice than a nut.
Yeah, because my dad, I remember when I was a kid, my parents would always drink like hazelnut coffee.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I never liked coffee, but it always smelled so good.
Mm-hmm.
And then I tasted it, and just tastes like coffee, But
Yeah.
I need to try some of that again.
I
My
love
parents
coffee.
always just did like vanilla flavored, like French vanilla for the coffee.
That's fair.
I like
And I don't like coffee, so.
I like the dark roasts for coffee.
That is good.
Panera ruined hazelnut coffee for me. I
Uh-oh.
was a big fan of hazelnut coffee for the longest time. And then I drank it at Panera one time. And I was like, this is kind of gross.
Yeah.
Really?
And then hazelnut sucks ever since.
That's too bad.
Just that like artificial flavoring they use. But like sometimes one artificial flavoring ruins anybody else that does it better.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I always thought that about mango artificial flavoring. Like mangoes
Right.
are fine, but there's some bad artificial flavors out there, and now I can't have a decent one without tasting how bad like I remember it being,
You get like taste bud flashbacks.
Yeah, specifically
Back
with
in Nam.
mango, and I guess it's kind of the same with like cherry flavored stuff too. Yeah, a lot of cherry, rations in Nam, especially.
I watched a video about soldiers like going through the forest in Vietnam, and it was like showing all the different types of traps that were used.
Yeah.
And it was like the troop do. Little do they know there's a mine, and it takes out, and it like shows like a little animation like this whole time, takes out 3 of their troops, but the commander says keep going, and like it just goes and goes and goes, and more traps take out more and more of this troop that you're following. And then at the very end, like, all the soldiers are like scared or whatever, like we don't want to go further, and the commander's like keep going or I'll shoot you, and then turns around and like the enemy is there, they shoot him and take the survivors prisoner, and they're driving back to their base or whatever, and they're like, but remember that tank mine from earlier? And then the whole car that they're in blows up and kills everyone.
What? This feels like a comedy. This doesn't.
It was kind of funny. I'll find the video.
You
and send it
started
to
started
describing
describing
it. I thought it was like a documentary or something.
No, it was like an animation.
Okay.
Vietnam has some weird, media about it though. Did you guys ever have to read Tim O'Brien?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Nope.
That was honestly a good book.
yeah. Well, he had a couple because it's the things they carried is the big one, I think.
Oh.
And then If I Die in a Combat Zone is another one that he wrote. But yeah, the way that he writes about it, because he was actually in Vietnam, but it's kind of like semi-fictionalized most of the stuff in the books, and then he kind of explains it as, well, it doesn't matter. You hear all sorts of crazy stories about things that people claim to have happened when they were in Nam, and you're never going to figure out if any given story's true or not. So all of it's true and all of it's not true. It's all like this fog of war. I don't know. It's a really interesting war just for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how about Tropic Thunder?
Yeah.
How about it?
That was a pretty good movie.
Oh,
It's pretty funny, I'd say.
I
haven't
love
seen
that
it.
movie.
Yeah,
I just
I
watched that
haven't
again a
either.
couple weeks ago. You never seen that?
No.
Well, we have to stop the podcast.
That's your guys' homework assignment tonight.
Okay.
Just watch Tropic Thunder.
I'm a huge fan.
It's great.
Yeah.
I've been on a movie kick for a bit now. I've been getting into Letterboxd and like tracking all my movies and everything. And
Well, this is like basically a classic. This came out like 15 years ago.
there's so many
Something.
classics.
Yeah. But this has Ben Stiller, Jack Black,
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr.
Yup.
Like, come on.
I am vaguely familiar with it.
Yeah,
I
it's
just haven't seen
stacked.
it.
And
Yeah.
it's
And he's,
highly
like, wearing
controversial.
blackface.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very, very controversial release.
Yeah.
So I remember that came out like when I was in middle school, and my mom, because there was an article in the paper about how controversial it was, because you know
Yeah.
there's a scene where he uses the R word a lot, you know,
Mm-hmm.
to describe like Ben Stiller's acting and stuff, and it's a very controversial scene.
You never
Just
go full.
Yeah, exactly. And my mom had to take, because she was a school teacher, and she, you know, like it hit home for her, you know, and had to like describe to me how bad this sounded, you know, how bad this movie probably was. But come on,
It was a great movie.
Yeah.
And now you love it.
they're missing the context, you know.
Yeah. I watched a good movie this week called Zone of Interest. And it is an Oscar nomination, which is cool. But the movie itself is very dark. It follows a Nazi commandant and his family. The guy himself is like the person who runs the Auschwitz concentration camp.
Okay.
And so the movie is just following him and his family's like day-to-day affairs, mostly like focusing on his family's perspective of how they live their life. They have a really nice house and a lush garden and a pool, but they live right next to the camp, so you hear, see, smell everything. They have like Jewish slaves on the property, and so it's just like really crazy because it shows how all of that awful stuff can be normalized, and it has like an incredible depiction of that. But this family is just like going about their day. Like they'll hear, you know, gunshots and guards shouting and stuff, and the kid will be playing with toys in his room, and he'll be like, "Oh, you know, they shouldn't have stolen an apple or whatever they did." And there's another scene in there where the guy and his kids are like playing in the river nearby. They're, you know, just splashing water on each other, and the dad is fishing. And as he's just standing there calmly, he sees something floating in the water. He reaches over and he pulls out a human jawbone from the river.
Oh, I saw a clip of that.
Yeah.
And he says, gets his kids like, get out, get out, get out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he looks upstream and he sees that they're dumping the ashes. And so, yeah, he hurries and rushes his kids out of the river and then hurry home and wash up and everything. But it's just absolutely bonkers. Like, you feel just like kind of disgusted watching it.
I'm sure.
Like, it feels and seems so mundane. It's not like an action movie at all. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is it A24?
Ooh, is it?
What'd you say it was called again?
Zone of Interest. I think it might not be A24. I'm forgetting off the top of my head. Because I saw another A24 movie recently as well, in a
Yeah.
show or something. But
I saw a pretty good movie recently.
what did you see?
It's on... Ooh, what is it on? It is on one of the streaming services. Don't Worry, Darling. Timber showed it to me. And have any of you heard of it?
I know I've
have
seen
not.
this somewhere too, but yeah, I don't know anything about it, or I've seen it on one of the services.
Yeah. So it's kind of like 50s maybe, like, you know, suburbs are kind of becoming a thing. They've got like record players and you know, they've got like
Thermonuclear
somewhat.
bombs.
Yeah, they got like better like, they've got cars and whatever. But it's just about like this court that a bunch of houses are on. All the wives, they all are just like traditional quotations, like wives. They stay home, they clean, they cook, and every morning, like all the husbands get into their cars all at the same time. They all pull out and they all leave in a line and they all go work at the same place.
Yeah, the post-war American dream.
Yeah, and then they can't tell their wives anything about work. They can't talk about it. The wives aren't supposed to leave the town because it's not safe. And they're like, never go outside of town. You're safe here. You've got everything you need. You don't have any reason to go. So just don't worry about it. And it goes on for a little while, and everyone's like, oh yeah, happy, happy, happy. And the main girl, who you're kind of following through the movie, starts to like question things like, where do they go for work? What are they doing? And one of her friends on like the block previously went through this whole thing and kind of went crazy. And like, if you start to question things too much, some people come and just like take you away.
Oh.
And so eventually this person who went crazy, the main girl like saw her like off herself and like fall, like she was standing on the roof of the house, slit her neck, fell off, and she's like, oh my god, and like ran, and it's like and before she even got there, like men in like red suits like dragged away the body, took her, and then she woke up and she's like, what happened? Like, I just saw, and like, no, she just fell. Like, you're probably having a traumatic response, and they're like doing everything to like gaslight her basically. But anyways, so the whole time you are also like the viewer trying to figure out like what is going on, because it's just like not right. So, and you don't find out to the very end, and you're like, whoa, this is great. It's like
Sounds good.
it's like a Black Mirror episode.
What did you say this was called again?
Don't worry, darling.
Right. Yeah.
Don't worry, darling.
This might be on Netflix or something.
I
think.
definitely thought it was like a romance based off the title, and I was like, okay, well, I'll watch it. It's not a romance.
No.
It's very, very interesting. But yeah, at some point, like the wife starts going crazy because she's like, what's going on? Like, we all have like one of 3 stories of how we met our husband. We all went and honeymooned at one of 3 places.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, those are pretty popular honeymoon destinations.
I saw a clip of that exact scene.
Yeah.
I was wondering what that was from because it looked interesting.
It's very good.
That girl was popping off. She was like accusing everybody.
Yeah, she was in Oppenheimer, I think.
Interesting.
But yeah, one day she was cooking breakfast and like cracked the egg on the edge of the pan or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like nothing inside.
Oh,
and she's
what?
like, it was just like a shell. And she's like, what? Goes for another one. Same thing. The whole carton, she just starts picking them up and just like they're all just like perfect like shells with like nothing inside of them. And so you're like,
Weird.
what is going on? But I definitely recommend that one also.
Interesting.
Nice. I did see a movie again that I hadn't seen for a while. That my friends like a lot. It's a Japanese movie called House. And just to be specific, not it's Nobuhiko Obayashi. The movie that he directed called House. It's like a 70s movie, but it kind of pseudo horror, but it's very lighthearted too. But a bunch of like Japanese like high school girls are all going on a vacation to their one of their aunt's house, who lives in the countryside, and some weird stuff starts going on. They all have wacky names like Sweet and Gorgeous and Kung Fu, and there's like 6 or 7 of them though, I can't remember. But where girls start dying and the aunt is actually like a zombie and everything.
Oh.
But it's also just it's a very cookie cutter kind of story, but it's really surreal that the director wrote the whole movie based on dreams that his like young daughter, like his 6-year-old daughter, would write down, or like things that he would ask her to write down, like things that you think are scary and stuff, where the aunt is in a reveal, she's one of their friends is missing, and the aunt's eating her noodles, and then she like opens her mouth and an eyeball's in her mouth, and she only shows it to one girl, kind of thing. And but just the beats of the story are just really weird, and the way that it all flows together is very like kind of trippy, in a way. But it's a good experience. I'd recommend it. It's a fun time.
That sounds cool.
House.
I'll put it on my watch list. In fact, I already did.
You'll probably have to pirate it, because I assume that's where my
Sure.
friend found it.
Yeah.
Luckily, that's pretty easy though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's from the 70s. Nobody's going to care,
Yeah.
It's
I
from
know a
Japan.
guy with a Plex server.
Yeah, exactly. That's where he has it, actually, is his Plex server.
Nice.
I
I kind
hate
of
to
wanted
be...
to set those up.
Oh,
Are
it's
you
time
guys
for
ready
a
for
refill.
beer too?
I'm about ready.
You got to stay lubricated here,
This one feels like you want to switch a flavor after one.
That's fair.
You know what I mean?
Do you want to?
Are you trying to alternate here? Go back
Copper
to
alternate? I could probably do one more of the same.
Yeah,
This is your chance to say yay or nay on the copper alt.
I suppose.
it? Yeah, I do like Copper Alt a lot, but it's not going to be a go-to have 6 of them in a row thing.
Sure. Speaking of drinking a lot, there's one guy online I've seen who does his own little series. He calls it Cold Cases.
Nice.
And he starts
That's
every
good.
episode by describing what it is, because they're all like a minute long. And what he does is he drinks a case of beer and he tries to solve an unsolved murder mystery.
Oh, that's even better than I thought it would be.
And the entire video, he's like, all right, guys, today we're drinking Natty Light and we're going to solve, John Wayne Gacy or
The
something.
JFK assassination.
Yeah, something like that. And then he cracks one open, and then it cuts to the end immediately where he's drank like the entire 12-pack or whatever. He's like, all right, guys.
Now we're ready to begin.
Didn't get him this time. I think he might be in Texas or Wisconsin or something. And he's got like at least 5 of them out so far. And I love it. All the comments are so encouraging. They're like, hey, you'll get him next time, bro. Come on. Don't worry about it. You were so close.
That's pretty great.
It's so funny.
That's
It's
awesome.
called Cold Cases.
I think so, yeah.
I figured that'd just be a good name for a beer review show, too. But
Right?
no, this is a way better premise.
Because, unsolved murder mysteries, it's a cold case.
Right,
And he's
yeah.
drinking a cold case.
This is good.
So it's got the double entendre and everything. Ugh, it's so funny. I don't know how he goes through the whole thing, but like, it's just one guy, He just sits there.
You just throw them back.
It's kind of like that one. I think I saw this on some podcast where there's a guy on YouTube who does a review show on piss spots, where he like piss spots, where he's mostly just in his car. And he's like, oh, yeah, here I am, at this parking lot of this place I go to, all the time, this gas station. And he just, like, takes a piss in a bottle in his car and then rates the experience,
Amazing. Peak cinema.
I think the best pee I ever had was it was raining and it was after work at Venue one day. And I drove to this parking lot outside of a bar and I was like, I have to pee so bad. But I was waiting to pick up one of my friends from the bar. And I was like, I don't really want to go in there just to pee. He's going to be out in a minute. And so I just like looked around and I was like, got out of my car, and just like got down on my knees in front of my car. It was kind of like a hill, so I like faced downhill, and like there's rain coming down. I'm like, whatever. I just whipped it out and let it go.
What was the trick?
And it was so relieving, and like
Oh, yeah.
the rain was like cold, and I'm like,
I mean, this is a social engineering thing. You don't need to be so. You might be drawing more attention to yourself by kneeling down. Like, you just keep the lights on, keep the car running. You get out of the car, you lean against the hood, like behind
yeah.
the
Piss
lights.
against like the
And then,
wheel.
and then you pee down. Yeah, exactly.
Be on the car.
Yeah.
You got the rain anyway.
no, I didn't turn the car off or anything. I just got out in front of my car.
Yeah, make sure you don't put the parking brake on either.
Got
Leave
in
it
front of
dry.
one of the headlights and
Well, it was dark out. I needed to see, where I was being.
Keep it hidden. Just pee inside your car.
No, that was the best pee ever.
Those are great when you sneak one in, like running cross country kind of thing. It's like, oh, we're running on the trail and there's no bathroom here, but if I can just, find the right moment to duck into the ditch here,
Yeah,
then you got, third wind, second and third wind at once.
there you go.
Oh yeah, you let a wind out, and you get your next one.
The relief is just so powerful,
Yeah.
they both come in.
Yeah.
you know what the worst peas were?
What?
Detasseling peas.
Yeah,
You're just standing in the cornfield and you're
it's
like,
hot.
Yeah.
all right, well, I have to like
Wet.
pee now. And so
Yeah.
Hopefully
that's-
nobody
that's
comes
gross.
up behind me.
exactly, like
Yeah.
And you're
Yeah,
already,
just
like
go.
drenched from head to toe,
Yeah. The perks of being a tall person is that you could look over a lot of the corn sometimes and you'd be like, anyone?
I wasn't tall yet when I was detasseling.
I was decently tall at the time, so it wasn't a huge issue.
Were you
I
guys
started.
dedicated to that? I only did it one summer.
I did 3 years.
I did
did
2.
4. It sucked at first, and then I got taller and better, and a bunch of my friends from high school did it, and I was like, shit, this is awesome, because we were all on
Yeah.
the same bus.
Yeah.
I liked having
So-
money, but one of the
Yeah.
fields we were working in Monsanto fields sometimes,
Those are
not
the
just
worst.
Pioneer. Yeah, and I got like a bad infected, sore on my leg
Ugh,
that didn't go
rough.
away for years.
Oh,
That took
Yeah.
like steroid, cream prescriptions and stuff
Yeah.
to go away.
damn.
They don't let you go into those fields like with any skin showing. Like you got to be, all your skin's got to be put away
Yeah,
Put that skin away.
before you go into that cornfield.
I was 5'3" when I started detasseling.
Oof. It's gnarly.
There was some
How
of
do
the
you remember?
fields, if it was because I knew when I started detasseling, and like they took our heights at the start of 7th grade, and I had done it. I'd detasseled the summer before. So I was 5'3".
So the corn's like, I guess the
And,
male rose would be like 6 foot easy, right? Like,
Yeah,
That's
pretty
yeah.
big.
Some of the
For a
bad
male row.
ones, I had to like jump to grab the tassels,
yeah.
and it by the time you go through like a half-mile row, it's like
Your shoulders start to hurt.
you're like reaching up,
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like-
Yeah.
pulling.
Those are the worst.
That job sucked.
For
Why did we do
$7.25
that?
an hour.
Yeah, because I wanted. Well, I mean, I saved
Went
up
up to
enough
9.
money to buy a 360 at the time. Like I had money. I got like $700 from the whole experience.
For a whole summer.
You have my entire summer gone. Waking
Yeah.
up at 4 in the morning.
Yep.
Yeah.
I bought a guitar with my detasseling money.
Nice.
Bought my first computer.
Yeah, and it was all tax free. Less than $3,000. So
Yeah.
we got off good.
That's true.
I guess.
Yeah.
It was always fun coming
got
across the rotten ears of corn.
Excuse me?
in the rows and stuff, where there'd be like a blue and purple and black one hanging off the stalk. Mm-hmm. That was nice.
And when you see like the spiders on them,
Yeah,
oh,
I wouldn't
that.
pick those. I'd be like,
yeah.
nope.
Yeah, you look at them and you're like,
yeah,
Or they have like
This is
big
John's
ass
problem.
mosquitoes or like grasshoppers on them. I'm like, nope.
yeah. No thanks.
Yeah.
Or
I'm not big to deal
Or
with
after rain, it's like the mud would be like
Oh.
3 feet deep or something.
Yeah, when there's like huge ass puddles in the middle of the field, like it dips or something, and you
Yeah.
gotta like, you dip your whole ass like ankle in there.
It was disgusting.
You're like shin deep in that shit.
And then you get on the bus afterwards and you eat your sandwich like with your dirty ass hands.
Yeah. You keep it like half popped out of the Ziploc. And you're like,
I didn't care. I pulled the whole thing out. I was like, fuck it. Like, I'm hungry.
oh yeah.
And the sandwich is going in my belly.
Fun times.
Oh yeah. Nothing like a homemade, mayo and ham sandwich with a Powerade to wash it down.
Oh yeah.
Mine was always PB&J.
PB&J's
I'd always
are good
layer
too.
them up. I'd do like ham and pepperoni and like I'd do as much stuff as I could.
Sometimes I make like a double decker one, where it's like you mayo both
Yeah.
sides, but then you got like your middle bun and then the top one.
Oh,
And you get like ham in between both or something.
when you have to
Curves
bring
are
like
good.
2 sandwiches, one's not
Yeah.
gonna cut it because you're out there for like
You're
more
out
than
there like
8
6
hours.
a.m. to like 3 p.m. at least.
Yeah.
Some days,
Yeah.
I think the latest I've run was like 5,
Yeah.
or like getting back at 5 or 6.
One summer I was doing that, waking up at 4, detasseling, getting back at 4, and then going in at like 5 to Da Vinci's and closing at like 11.
What? Come on. I would pass the fuck out after detasseling, even if like we wouldn't go that late. But
And like my managers were like, "You okay?" I'm like, "I'm just tired. I need to sit down for like 20 minutes." And they're like, "Okay, like you feeling okay?" I was like, "I just got off work, and now I'm back. Got up at 4, so." And they're like, take a break." And I was like, "Thank you."
Yeah.
Ugh.
Dude, as a teenager, I just had like so much energy. I don't understand it.
yeah,
It's crazy.
Now, like,
I have to manage so carefully like how much caffeine I'm intaking mostly.
Right. But like, oh man, I had like 1 or 2 sodas already. Oh, I better not have anything else.
It's more I have to have just like plain coffee, plain tea. I can't like have too much added sugar because that's the problem. But yeah, but if I don't have enough caffeine, then I just want to go to bed at like 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
yeah, I usually drink coffee at work until like 4 o'clock. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
I've gone through like 2, like, like
Kettles.
not like a standard like mug, like a double mug basically. I got like a coffee cup.
Yeah.
I've gone through like 2 of those, so like 4 mugs of coffee. Today I was like, I should probably cut it off at 4.
Right. Yeah. As long as I don't keep drinking at home. But yeah, even then sometimes I crash pretty hard once I finally get home and stop drinking caffeine.
Yeah. I feel like I usually get a big crash at like 1 to 2 o'clock after lunch.
Yeah, eating something because I usually don't. If I eat breakfast, it's like one, like breakfast bar, and that's it.
Yeah.
If I eat that even, and then when I have something for lunch, it just wrecks my energy. But then you have 3 more cups of coffee when you get back to work.
Yep.
You can't keep that. You can't let yourself get dulled. You got to keep that edge on.
You can. It's really easy. I have to say, one of the biggest differences in like my daily life between like switching from the bank to being a restaurant GM, I can like feel the adrenaline pumping through my body because you know I went from sitting on my ass for 2 years to being on my feet for 55 hours a week.
Yeah.
Quite literally running around.
I almost kind of miss that. Like to a
Exactly,
degree,
like,
It's a good feeling.
There's a lot of things that were fun about restaurant work, and working in a kitchen in
Yeah.
general.
Throw a shot or
Yeah.
2 back and you're buzzed and like
Yeah.
still in the zone and you're like, this is great.
Yeah,
when
no,
things are humming too. Yeah,
it feels like really good, and like as long as you have like a decent day, like you're and I guess in the right mindset,
yeah,
then like you just feel better at the end of the day, and you feel like accomplished. Exactly. Like I put in a good day's work today. Like
yeah.
and I get home and the adrenaline is still pumping through my veins. I'm like, I can still get shit done. And since I'm taking 3 classes, I've got stuff to do. So I don't know. It's just been an interesting experience. And like, I don't know. I go to bed at night and there's still like, I can feel the adrenaline still going.
Right. Yeah.
Which
You have to
For
really
sleep
turn
is-
yourself off. Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
it's just been an interesting experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always liked work when, even like tech support, it's like there's a lot of stuff going on, you know. It feels similar to that, but it is.
It's more like mental.
Yeah, it's not the
but-
same as like being on your feet and really like, you know, keeping a system moving, you know, like that takes a lot of physical work, but it has, when you get like into the groove, it has a similar level of satisfaction, you know, but it's harder to, it's not as consistent, you know, as food is, you know. You can't, you know what's going on with food. There's only so many problems.
Did you put mayo on it? It said no mayo.
Okay, fine, I'll remake it, you know. End of discussion.
Yeah. No, it's been so wild. Like, my mindset from the first time I worked at Da Vinci's to now, like, the first time I was like, dang, this sucks.
Yep.
Like, I don't care about this.
Yep.
And I want to leave. I want to go home.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know, coming back, and it might be that, like, I'm directly responsible for the building's survival now.
Yeah.
But, like,
No, that adds, you know, an extra level of
stress.
you know,
like, I care
stress and
about it
excitement
now.
to it, yeah.
And, like, I want to see it make a profit. Like, both because it's a direct result of what I'm putting into it. And also we get bonuses if we make a profit. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's like, and I've worked at my fair share of only pizza places, but you know, I've worked at like 4 different pizza places, I guess. And the problem is always when the person who's ultimately responsible isn't pulling their weight. And when you can kind of be in charge of that and make sure it's done well, and then everything else just goes well, you know, then like everybody's set up for success kind of thing. That's
Exactly.
especially satisfying to see it all pay off, you know.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to throw any in particular person under the bus for somebody I've worked for, but it's just management's tough, you know, especially. I'm not going to act like it's easy.
Yeah.
And yeah, running a restaurant's no joke. It's not easy by any stretch, but it's easy enough to like kind of create your own routine though with something like that and really focus on, you know, what needs to, or, you know, all the, whatever. I'm not going to finish this thought very concisely. You get it though. Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely feel like after, like, having a break from Da Vinci's, but also working in more of a professional restaurant. You know, people called me chef.
yeah.
Chef.
And, like, basically running the kitchen there. I feel like if I ever went back to Da Vinci's, which I probably won't, but I feel like if I ever did, I could definitely, like, run the show a lot better. Like, I did pretty good. Like, I did a lot of work at Da Vinci's. But I feel like if I went back, definitely, like, have a different mindset on, like, how to get things done. How to, like,
You do so much
how to
more
manage
stuff at venue.
the people that are, like, running the bars.
Yeah.
And
No, and I literally, like, some of the stories you told me about venue, like, indirectly affect my goals for Da Vinci's.
yeah.
Because it's just like, okay, yeah, like, it needs to be high expectations of every single employee.
Yeah, because if one person doesn't pull their weight, it falls on someone else who's already pulling double their weight.
Exactly.
And then that sets a culture, you know, as much as I hate using that phrase,
Yeah.
that terminology.
And then
but it's
nobody
true.
does anything.
Yeah. Because employees are the ones that really set the culture. Who cares what corporate people do? But I don't know. It's funny thinking of all this. Did you guys see the news? Because my buddy had to tell me about it. I totally missed it. That the guy who started Valentino's died like a couple weeks ago.
Really?
Oh, really?
Tony
I did not.
Vicinio. Yeah, but I don't know. Valentino's, like, Da Vinci's has infinitely better food, I think, and they're kind of the classics with Lincoln. I don't think Da Vinci. They've been around for a long time though. They've been around like 50 years or something, right?
Just about.
Yeah, but
Damn.
Valentino's definitely has consistent food. I think is the best thing they have going for them. That it's all really like really laid down to how like everything's weighed out, you know, everything is standardized. And Da Vinci's maybe isn't quite as consistent, you know, depending on who's making your food, but it's always good, you know. I think it's just better food. But yeah, Tony Massinio kind of went overboard. It's just a classic case of somebody losing touch too, because you know somebody builds an incredibly successful business because they're dedicated to it, and then you know eventually he goes off, you know, and has big dreams for it and big expectations and isn't very patient, you know, kind of thing. That you know, Da Vinci seems more consistent in that way too. That they know that their food's good, you know, and they're not trying to make the business into something that it isn't. It's like Tony,
It all just feels like very homemade.
yeah, exactly. It's like Tony Massinio too. He tried to. It's already failed. Over at South Point, they opened like the Ristorante.
Yeah.
It was like a classy sit down like dining room, but it's a
It was
Valentino's
nice.
kitchen. Yeah, it's a nice place. I went in there a couple of times. It's got but like they have
It's
no idea.
Valentino's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're serving Valentino's food, but they have a bar with like Macallan Scotch, you know, and they have good beers and stuff. They have good liquor, but then they're also selling $100 bottles of wine and stuff. It's like nobody's coming in there to get a hamburger pizza and a wine of distinction, you know. And then what do you know? It failed. They had to close it, and it was a huge investment on their part.
Have you guys been to the place that took that spot over? The
haven't
Iku,
still.
But I've heard it's
Ikusan?
really good. Yeah,
It's so good. I've been there a handful of times now. Every time. Hits it out of the
Yeah,
ballpark.
we should go. That'd be sick.
It's delicious.
Put that in like the monthly dinner running.
It's kind of expensive, but I mean, you get really full, which is something to say for ramen.
Are we talking like $20 a person?
Yeah, Timber and I went there Friday night. We got 2 appetizers. We each got a like pop, and we each got a bowl of ramen. It was like $60.
I guess it's
That sounds about right for like that.
for a fancy place. Yeah,
And they've got like anime playing on all the TVs.
That's how
fancy.
much fun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They've got a bar you can sit at if you want.
No, that's cool.
And then they've got like a brunch place like connected to it that's like only open for brunch, and then it closes down for
Interesting.
the night, and then the ramen shop is open.
Like brunch ramen or like bacon
Ramen.
and eggs
It's like
and
a-
ramen.
I want to say it's more of like a cafe,
Oh, okay.
but I've kind of peeked into their kitchen from like the table. Seems pretty nice. It seems like really open and like big.
Yeah, it's like it's probably the same Valentino's kitchen that looked really nice too when I went in there. Where you have like the window back into it and
Yeah.
everything.
But
'Cause I think that's also is like there was the carry out side and the dining room side.
yeah. But yeah, it's delicious.
Yeah, gotta check that out.
Way better than the ramen place like that was downtown years ago.
Abu Ramen.
Yeah, the omelet.
What's
they
there
do.
now?
I know
Well, it's
there's one right
Itsumo.
now.
Is it Itsumo
Yeah,
there right
Itsumo.
now? But that's
That
all
one's
like
all right.
because that's the Yaya's people.
Is
That-
it?
Yeah, because all
Oh,
the businesses, because
jinx.
they own both of those ramen places and Oso, because Oso was in that same spot
Yeah.
briefly.
Very briefly.
Yeah, but it was there for years beforehand. You know, like because it was there for like 6 or 7 years, and then they closed it, and then Abu Ramen opened, I think. But,
Yeah.
but they just like cycle through places that they're just fucking around with.
See what works.
Weird.
Yeah. And none of it does. They don't keep. Well, I guess Itsumo seems like it's doing all right. It's been open for a while, but there were tons of places that were open for like 2 months, and then they close it.
Amu Manu was like some of the best food I've ever had, to be
Really?
honest. Like, especially as far as like ramen goes, but specifically, I had the best cheesecake of my life there,
Cheesecake.
which is so wild. Like, you don't go to a ramen place and expect to have the best cheesecake you've ever had before.
But when in Rome,
And like thinking of it, it probably came frozen from Cisco.
Yeah.
It might have, yeah, but
but they made the
It was-
best Cisco cheesecake.
it was so
They
odd
thought it
that
the
like
best.
I don't know if Cisco would have it It was a green tea cheesecake.
Oh.
And
Interesting.
oh my god.
Okay, so they're
It
going
was
to like
so good.
Oriental Market or something to get it then.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. But holy cow.
Maybe they make
Holy
it.
cow.
I could.
Is that what it was called? It was Abu Manu?
Amu
Yeah.
Manu.
Amu Manu?
Yeah.
If you thought
was
that-
there a different place, or maybe I'm just Mandela affecting it, with the name?
If you thought that
Yeah.
ramen was good, Ikusan, whatever it is,
Where's that?
it'll knock you out.
That's
isn't
the Valentino's
one.
Oh,
That's South Point.
Ikusan. Right,
Ikusan,
yeah.
Ikusan, yeah.
The downtown was the Amu Manu, and then Itsumo,
Yeah.
and then the South Point one is the Ikusan.
You guys like pho?
That was pretty good.
I've never had it.
I've only had it like once or twice, but I liked it.
I mean, it's very similar to ramen, I
Yeah.
guess, but yeah, just different.
It's like a lot of
Different style.
broth.
Yeah.
But
I'll rewind on the ramen thought here. Amu Manu was the second best ramen I've ever had.
oh, okay.
The best ramen
Easily swayed.
Top ramen.
was from HelloFresh, actually.
Oh,
Surprisingly.
they sent
And
you a
today's
they
package
sponsor.
of ramen.
They are not sponsoring
only.
this episode, but if
But they could.
Hi, HelloFresh. If you'd like to sponsor us, let us know. But literally, they sent us a ramen recipe, and we were like, yeah, like ramen, that sounds good. Especially homemade, because that's much better than 45-cent ramen packs.
It's like $1.50.
Holy cow.
Wow.
Damn.
Thanks,
Anyway.
Whoever's to blame.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Mr.
just made it.
Inflation.
And just made it exactly how the recipe told us, and it was so good. I highly recommend that if they ever get that recipe back, which we've only found it once on there, and it's never been there again.
Did you
You
save
still-
the recipe card?
I do have the recipe card, but I don't know where to get the stuff because it was like they had some weird ass ingredients
There's
on there,
quite a
and
few
we're like,
Asian markets in town. That
Yeah.
have
that's
some
probably
good
where you would
stuff.
get it, but I'm really lazy, so
Yeah.
Fair.
You
No,
got
I am
your
too.
DoorDash subscription.
There's
I
one
don't know
like
if
2
Oriental
blocks away from
Markets
me, and I
are-
still haven't ever been inside of it. But,
Mhm.
yeah.
I'm
I
scared
guess,
of
yeah, they're not that
getting
close
made
to here.
fun of.
Yeah. Where I just know they're gonna judge me.
Yeah, they're gonna start
'Cause I
talking.
don't know how
They're
to
gonna
cook.
start
Who's
talking
this?
in another
He's a
language
white
and start
guy.
giggling and
Yeah.
be like, I
They're
know
like,
what
this
they're
guy
talking
can't
about me.
cook, and he's white, but
Have you seen that guy who's got the tattoo on his arm that says Kung Pao chicken in Mandarin Chinese? But then he actually speaks Mandarin Chinese, so
Yeah.
he like goes along the street in like, Chinatown or whatever, New York. And he's like,
that's pretty cool.
the
It's
people
brave.
point at him and be like, "Oh, this white guy's got Kung Pao chicken." He
gets it.
and he responds in Mandarin. He's like, "Oh yeah, it's like my favorite. I love it. Why do you think I got it tattooed?"
That was pretty funny. Well, is it rating time?
I think so.
I'm down.
Whoa, rating time.
Did I get him?
I'm gonna assume
I don't think there's no guts on my hand.
you're out of luck then. All right, who would like to start this rating? Mr. Guest, would you like to go first?
Oh yes,
Carson?
Carson guest here. But yeah, it's a good beer. It's crisp. It's got kind of I would say unique. It's got kind of a unique flavor to it that you wouldn't really get with a lot of other beers. It's kind of a dark beer, but surprisingly not when you're drinking it.
Yeah.
But yeah. I guess I don't know if I would call it balanced. It's definitely malty. I suppose classic, It's kind of got maybe I'm not some sort of beer historian, but yeah, maybe some sort of kind of historical like taste to it, or a classic antique taste. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you give it a scale rating?
Yep.
Like,
Like
a B, C, D.
A, B, C, D?
And
then-
S is the best.
F is the worst.
I'd say this is a good like B plus A beer, in my mind.
That's
Okay. Very nice.
good. Okay. I'll go next. I definitely agree with the malty. You definitely get the malty on the after, like after you swallow it, and then it kind of like simmers. Honestly, I'm not sold on the chocolate or hazelnut. It kind of just like it's like a lager, but without the heaviness. Is I guess how I would describe it. Pretty good. I definitely felt like after like one of these, you get kind of the what's it called, like flavor
Overload almost, or
not like overload, but like
plateau.
when you have like something that tastes the same for too long and it just becomes like
Yeah,
bland.
you eat too many eggs, and you're like, ugh.
You can't taste like much nuance in it.
Yeah,
Like,
it's just
after
it
the
just
first
kind
one.
of gets
That's
all
fair.
the same flavor.
Yeah.
Overload.
No,
Distinction.
like weariness.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Exhaustion. Yeah.
Flavor
Yeah,
exhaustion.
fatigue.
Yeah,
Fatigue,
flavor
fatigue,
fatigue.
yeah.
Yeah, there
That's a
you
good
go.
word.
Decay.
Yeah.
No, fatigue.
So I definitely felt like after one, I was kind of ready for a different flavor, but I drank two, and they're definitely not hard to drink. You know, they still feel pretty light. So I think, I mean, it's a solid beer. If you're just gonna have one beer, I'd give it a B.
All right. Yeah.
Ethan.
Ethan. I don't know if I'm going to say anything new here. It's malty. It's crisp. It's a hybrid style between an ale and a lager. This bronze hue. Okay. Yeah, it was pretty good. I liked it. It's not going to be like a go-to to buy again, but I would consider it on occasion. So I'm going to say A-.
Solid.
Seems
Pretty
like
decent.
Ethan and I are on the same page. I enjoyed it, and it was pretty easy to drink and enough flavor that it'd be something to keep in the fridge. Fun to share with friends, and fun to have one or two of them. So also an A- from me.
Cool.
Nice.
All right, gentlemen. Everyone raise your empty beer glasses here.
The ratings are in.
Clink.
That's the sound of
Of empty beers.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Thanks for
Empty
watching.
glasses.
Check us out. You're already checking us out if you're listening.
Check us out some more.
Check us out some more.
Tell your friends and family.
Lick the salt lamp.
Okay, bye.